Hey everybody, my name's Commander Eagle131, and I'd like to take you on a tour of my No Man's Sky base build, the Flying City of Exington. So this will be my first piece of content on No Man's Sky. I've been wanting to show this base build on YouTube for a long time. This particular base build isn't my first build in this game, however, it's one that is very special to me. I don't normally like bringing personal details into the mix here on the tubes like I am about to do, but I feel it's necessary for a bit of a preface. So for many years, I personally did not have a very good relationship with alcohol. About a year and a half ago, I decided it was finally time to kick the addiction and shed my dependency, and the following weeks were some of the toughest days I've had since my university years. I decided to do a No Man's Sky floating base build to help me get through some of it, as a floating base was something I had seen other travelers building, but I had not tried it yet, and I really wanted to do one. And I knew it would give me something to hyper-focus on while also getting to create and do something constructive. And did this project excel at that? I was at it for weeks on this build, and it helped tremendously in getting me through some of my darkest days. This build is insanely close to my heart because to me it represents the new beginning that I succeeded at granting myself. And it was that moment of realization that I was able to thank myself for doing something good for myself for the first time in years. So for the namesake of the base, Flying City of Exington or Suborbital City Exington, there's many different names. Suborbital City Exington is actually the name of it in-game, but I've called it many different things. But at the end of the day, Exington is the name, the official name given to the city itself. And I got that name from some guy on the internet named Commander Exorcist. When I gave it the name about a year ago, I admittedly didn't know who that person was, why they were so special. I admittedly still don't know who they are, but honestly the name sounded really cool, so I adapted it. I didn't even ask him. No, I'm just joking. Commander Exorcist is a good friend of mine. I met them in the online gaming world here. I've been friends with them for years, and they were one of many close friends of mine who were helping me through some of my darkest hours last year. So an absolute massive thank you to Commander Exorcist and all of my other friends who were there. There are too many names to wrap off, and quite frankly, I don't think most of them want their names published anyway. But thank you all. I won't ever forget it, and you know how it goes. Makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I can already feel myself clamming up. I don't really like doing this whole personal details thing on YouTube, but I felt it was really important to bring that as a preface to why I originally wanted to build this base and why it's so special to me. And every time I log into No Man's Sky, I end up back here. It's my main base, and I'm constantly reminded of the friendship and the incredibly big changes I made in my life last year. So it's a very special build to me. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the headcanon I have written about the base. Now I'm just going to go ahead and give a disclaimer. While I have immersed myself in the lore of No Man's Sky in the past, NMS is not my first game, so a lot of the small details often leave my memory. So if any of this stuff doesn't make a lot of sense and you're a lore master, feel free to correct me or make suggestions. But here we go. So the City of Exington was originally a unique, warp-capable atmospheric research platform built and operated by the Korvax many decades ago. The platform was fitted with multiple observation domes and laboratories. It also boasted a full array of thrusters, granting the platform the ability to stay in suborbit if needed for prolonged periods of time, depending on the planet's given gravity. It was, of course, totally sealed and capable of space and hyperspace jump travel as well. It served the Korvax scientists who operated the hulking science platform for years. In this period of time, they forged relationships with the local population via trade. It wasn't uncommon to see other life forms other than the Korvax coming and going from the platform. And once the platform was no longer necessary, the Korvax Science Council decommissioned the platform, but instead of salvaging it, they decided to turn it over to the local population at their request. The locals decided to repurpose the scientific research platform as a sort of mobile town. As the decades went by and more people came, they tack welded more and more additions onto the platform to make more and more space. In current times, the City of Exington is an eclectic collection of riveted together parts and halves. Basically, what I'm saying is that it's a hunk of rusting metal that is constantly falling apart. However, for those who live here, it's home and a labor of love. Fast forward to today, the City of Exington features a tiny spaceport with attached concourse and public bar. Sorry, only coffee and water are served here. A sickbay, an engineering bay, multiple maintenance catwalks, and a full town built within the top dome, which is where the main city resides. It even features the original custom-built Korvax thruster assemblies. However, it's debatable whether or not they work properly. Can it still travel at speeds over 10 knots? Yes, but it's not advised. Does the experimental Korvax warp drive still work? Yes, but you may lose a whole section of the ship upon hyperspace terminus and things might end up in the wrong places. You guys actually make your technicians walk the exterior of the ship to do repairs? Yes, but they get paid hazard pay. Come visit the City of Exington soon. We even have earthquakes when the power grid goes into flux. Okay everyone, that's enough yapping out of me, so let's go ahead and take a tour of the base. So as you can see from the intro cinematic here, the base is absolutely massive and I added a ton of detail to most of the locations. So buckle up and grab a snack, not in that order, because this is going to be a pretty long tour. I am super excited though to finally be able to show this off to you all. So I shall see you on the pad. Okay, I kind of wanted to give a bit of an exterior overview before we get started with the interior tour, just so we're not totally lost here, because this place is a bit of a maze. So as you can see here, we have kind of a central column with a giant dome sits on top of, and just, one column that runs all the way to the bottom of the city. And then there's two other columns that are kind of bolted onto it. If everything looks haphazard, that was the point. But if you want to think about it from an organized standpoint, there's a central column, then this column here bolted onto it right there, and then another one here where we kind of arrive at fresh off of the landing pads. So let me talk about the shape of the city real fast. I derived direct inspiration for its shape from another game called Guns of Icarus Online. There's a ship, it's kind of like a steampunk, diesel punk, arena-based airship combat game. I derived the shape from a ship in that game called the Spire. As you can see there, everything's kind of built along a central column, and at the very top there's a giant balloon. I tried to do something very similar because it's such a cool look, and I wanted to science fictionify that in No Man's Sky. I tried to do some motifs here, like, it's not a ship, it's originally a Korvax research platform turned city, but I wanted to make it look like it's able to move by adding things like these in the back here. They look like fins, tail fins with, maybe thruster assisted ailerons on them. Obviously the shape of this platform here is not very aerodynamic, so having like a tail fin for, aerodynamic, that wouldn't really do a whole lot, but the feeling, the motif is there. Then down here, just let me show you some of these designs here. Let's look at the belly of the ship. I have all these things here that might resemble thrusters that keep the ship, the city, propped up if it wants to, counteract its own weight and hang out at a certain altitude on a planet. So that's what those are. It's a bunch of glitch building. That's a glitch. That's a planetary glitch. I can't remember which one it's called, but it's glitch built to be flipped upside down, and it's clipped inside of this oversized lab lamp. I think that's a lab lamp there. So yeah, that's how I did those. And I tried to make these all look like they're big, heavy-duty thrusters, capable of keeping such a heavy thing floating for a suborbital hover flight. I guess. I guess technically it's a flight. But yeah. Anyway, so central shaft here. that holds the main top dome city up that way. And there's another column here, which I don't really have a name for any of these columns, but this column here has the Concourse connected to the Spaceport and the engineering compartments here, and then down at the very bottom is a wheelhouse of sorts. So if the crew needs to move the city wherever, within system, on the planet, or if they want to plot a hyperspace jump, they would do it and pilot the city from down here. And they get a nice 360-degree view almost of the surrounding area. Up top here we have this long industrial-looking platform that sort of bisects the entire thing, and it's connected to the central column. I like to call this the power grid platform. Unfortunately, I wasn't smart and I didn't build near an EM hotspot. So I couldn't actually have EM generators here, so this place is pretty much powered all by solar, and it's got tons and tons of batteries hidden inside of this hab here. You can't actually go inside of this hab, but inside of it there's a metric boatload of batteries that help keep the city running during nighttime hours. Sometimes we have power grid problems. I think it's bugs. I'm not entirely sure, because there should always be enough power available. Everything's balanced. So anyway, so this is the exterior of the base. There's a lot of detail. I could keep on talking from the exterior standpoint here for ages, but I know we're probably eager to look inside. So the interior of the base, I made it a little bit labyrinthian, and I did that on purpose also to make the place feel even bigger than it really is. It's already pretty big, but because of the way I laid out the interior, makes it feel even bigger. So we'll save the best for last. So up here's the top dome. There's a lot of detail up here. I'm gonna save this one for last. So if you just want to see what I did up here in the main city, you can skip towards the end. I'll have everything's gonna be chaptered. But the base, I sort of have it laid out to be kind of like maintenance / engineering, operations, living quarters, and kind of crew support. So we're gonna kind of try to go through this base as organized as possible, but it's going to be a long one. So let's go ahead and get on our feet, and we'll head straight into the concourse, and we'll show you that, and I will see you inside. All right, so here we are down at the spaceport. Boots on the ground from the player character's perspective. So we'll begin our interior tour of this base now. I just want to kind of give one quick disclaimer here. A lot of the YouTubers who give tutorials on how to get a base computer up into the sky all suggest, well, maybe not all of them, but a fair amount will suggest that you don't build as high as I chose to build. And one of the reasons is because these clouds will actually kind of clip through your build, because we're not supposed to build this high. So Hello Games doesn't have any exceptions programmed into the game on how to display clouds. You see this line of clouds there that are way over yonder in the distance, and they're just displaying straight through my base here. That's a concern, and probably a deal breaker for a lot of people. If you don't build the base wide enough, so wide that you see it, because there's a distance here, so as I get closer, then the clouds won't display any longer like that. So if you don't build the base super duper wide, it's generally not going to be a problem, especially when you're exploring inside of your base. But coming in from a distance, yeah, it's super noticeable. You'll be able to see those clouds clipping straight through your build structure, like that. Oh boy, I'm gonna fall. Nope. Okay, so just know that. And also, the other disclaimer I have about building as high as I did, if you can see this antenna on top of the top dome there, the tip of that antenna is right below the height limit. So we have an upper height limit for building parts. I don't know if it's a graphical thing or a gameplay mechanic thing, or just the distance, the height, where Hello Games just shrug and say, okay, that's the limit. But if you build any higher than that, then your pieces will still be technically placed, but you won't be able to see them, so you won't be able to delete them, so that's a big concern there. There's ways to do that. This isn't going to be a build tutorial video though, so if you're curious on how to do that, just go ahead and search on YouTube. There's a lot of great content creators out there who give really awesome tutorials on how to get your base computers up this high. So let's go ahead and get started with this tour. So yeah, this is the City of Exington. This is the vibes on when you first enter the city. So we are now in this sort of column. As I mentioned, there's several different columns bolted onto the central column. This is the column that the Concourse sits on. This room leads to all the other parts of the base, so we're just going to go ahead and explore this column first. So here we are in the Concourse. I tried to give some travel vibes, like, you know, cargo containers, waiting areas, the Golden Diplo sitting there waiting for its ride off the planet. And then around the other side here, we've got the kind of main waiting area, the Concourse bar. Again, sorry, only coffee and water are served here. But one of the main reasons I decided to defy all the content creators and build this high is because we have volumetric clouds in No Man's Sky, and a lot of people probably overlook that because, you know, we don't build this high, and there's no reason to my knowledge to actually have any gameplay up this high. So these details of these volumetric clouds that get quite tall, by the way, especially during a storm, they get huge. And building on a cloud level, you get to see that. You get to see and appreciate that. I certainly do. I love details like that. So sitting up here, I like to spend a lot of time while I'm chatting with my friends on Discord, not actually playing a game. You know, I'll come in here and it's kind of like therapy. You know, you get to sit here and just watch the clouds go by while you're on the cloud level. It's so stinking cool. But yes, that is why I actively defied the suggestions from many of the great builder content creators here on YouTube. I just wanted to see the clouds go by. So let's go ahead and explore a little bit deeper into this sort of Concourse column. So down here on this level, level 2, we have a little bit of maintenance stuff here. So this is main engineering. It might have made more sense to place main engineering on the central column, but this was the only place where I felt it was fitting to have it at the time, so here it is. We have, from a roleplay standpoint, the whole city's run off of this antimatter reactor. Okay, and then as I showed earlier, we have that big maintenance platform that bisects the whole entire central column with the array of solar panels. So we have antimatter, we have a, you know, nuclear reactor powered city with a comprehensive array of solar panels to sort of back it up with. In reality, this place is all powered by solar, because this thing here is just a material generator. It doesn't actually power anything. It's just there for looks. Over in here, this is the chief engineer's office. Nothing special in here. It's just a bunch of decorations, but we got these nice looking blast window looking things, so the chief engineer can sit here and watch the ancient Korvax original thruster array going off whenever they need to move the city, so, you know, the chief engineer can be right up in it. Out here we have a maintenance hatch, airlock type of deal, and here we go. Sorry if any of you guys got vertigo, but don't look down. We have this rickety gangway that takes us over here, and you know, as you can see, I did that on purpose. I wanted to make it look like it was broken. So you can come out here and perform maintenance, maybe reset, flip the breaker for the main VTOL engine that's responsible for keeping this portion of the city balanced while it's in a suborbit, while it's suborbital. And it's here because I kind of also want to imply that, you know, all of these thrusters, even though you can't get to all of them, this is the only one I think I built access to, but sort of imply that there's maintenance access ways to each one so that they can be manually restarted in the event of an emergency. if the city's falling, walking across this little plank here would probably be extremely dangerous. That was the whole point, though. Okay, so let's go on this way. We're moving towards the central column now. Inside of the central column, this is Sickbay. It's not super developed. This is a max build base, so I was sort of running out of space. If I did this again, I wouldn't build it this large. I sadly cannot populate this area with decorations because we're at the build limit. But yeah, it's just kind of a room that you pass through, maybe one that you wouldn't spend too terribly much time looking at the detail because there's not a whole lot of detail here. But this is the Sickbay. It's a big city, it needs a Sickbay. We have kind of like a little MRI imaging, advanced imaging diagnostic room here for the seriously hurt life form. And a kind of a quarantine room right in here. So over here we get a nice little viewing balcony. We're right in the middle of it all here. You can see one of the VTOL thrusters keeping the city afloat for a suborbital flight here. There's our one of our thruster arrays that propels the ship forward. And there's the chief engineer's office that we just visited. And of course our spaceport and concourse bar building up here. So now we are moving to one of the smaller columns. But now we are on the complete opposite side of the city from where we entered. But this is what I like to call, I don't really have a name for it, but there's there's kind of science and technology over here, science facilities. This here is an EVA chamber, so kind of like, you know, a futuristic looking a take on the diving chamber almost. You can come out here and on this tiny little platform just go on the jump if you want. I've done it before, it's fun. But we're not going to jump off today, so we're going to go ahead and close that hatch. Over in here, I didn't really have a whole lot for this room, but this room here I like to think of as the main water treatment facility. So, you know, this city stays afloat in the clouds often, and, you know, the inhabitants need water to survive. One of the, you know, maybe unless you're Korvax, I'm not entirely sure if they need water to survive, but, you know, biological life forms require water. And I like to think of this room here as kind of the central processing facility for water collectors. You know, we've got condensers outside that can take in moisture, and this is a very, you know, futuristic technologically advanced facility that can filter moisture from the air and filter out lots of different toxins and you know, make the water safe for the inhabitants to drink, bathe with, use for whatever they want. So this is also part of the original Korvax research platform, by the way. This was placed in here by them. And then down here is a glitch-built upside-down dome. This is one of the original research rooms for the atmospheric lab that the Korvax originally operated from this base here. Originally I had a spherification generator glitch built to the bottom of this thing, so when you hit the switch you would watch it drop the spheres down below, and I used to think of those as atmospheric probes, but for some reason I deleted it and it's gone, and you know, I never put it back on. But there used to be a atmospheric probe dropper inside of this room here, and you could watch it falling until it left the draw distance. Okay, so let's go ahead and head back over to this little corridor here. Okay. So here we are. This is the corridor. There's the EVA chamber. Now we're moving in the other direction here. This is the science department. So inside of here, this room I spent a lot more time trying to decorate and convey a message here. This is the current city proprietor, aka me, the player character, had a very weird fascination with the Anomalous. So this is a all-purpose research laboratory, but right now their current focus is the study of anomalous materials collected on my travels. These are all glitch builds. These are scaled down glass cubes, and I remember having to shove a door to the side of it so I could actually get these decoration pieces inside of these cubes. So these cubes had to get scaled down, then placed on this tabletop, and then a door placed on each cube. And the door was normal size, so the door was like absolutely massive, and there was this tiny little slot that I could actually get the build camera in and place all of these anomaly decoration pieces inside to make it look like we have these cool looking anomalous material contained in crates. As you can see there. So let's go ahead and take this teleporter up one level then. So this is another extension of the science department. This is an observatory. We can only have about maybe 2/3 of the sky view to us, because this lens can't rotate all around, or else it would be staring at the central column here. But yeah, this is a little observatory idea that it's not my own idea. I saw somebody at the Galactic Hub system, they had this on one of their builds, and I admittedly just copied the idea. It's not exactly the way theirs look. Theirs look way cooler than mine, but I wanted to do something very similar. So I took this biodome and tried to make it look like we have this, you know, all-in-one observatory thing here as like a little platform you can sit on that sits on the actual lens itself, and the entire assembly just rotates around the center here. That's why I tried to make it look like. Originally, I wanted to have pipes attaching to this center point here of the lens and go all the way around outside, but it was too much work, and I was like, you already did what you wanted to do here, so I let that one go. But anyway, we have a nice little observatory room in here. Let's go ahead and go back downstairs now. So that concludes this particular location of the base. So it's kind of like a one-way path. So to get to the other parts, we have to actually walk all these bridges back over to the concourse area and then go up to the second level. So now we're back in that first sort of concourse column. Okay, sorry for the quick jump cut here. I was editing everything, and I realized I never went down here to the bottom level of the concourse column, so cleverly cutting it in right here. So let's go on and continue our tour down on this third level here. So down below here, we are getting closer to the bridge. It's just down those stairs. But up here, we have kind of what I think of as the crew quarters. So we got some, you know, lightly detailed work here. I didn't want to put a whole lot of detail down here because I want the main living area to be up in the dome at the top. So I wanted these to be kind of minimalist looking, to save on base build pieces. As you can see in this room, there's actually nothing in here. I kind of hit a creative block at some point and I didn't do this room, and now I'm kind of at the build limit budget, so this room will stay empty. We'll eventually do something in here though when I free up a little bit of space. Same deal with this person's room here. It's pretty empty. I wanted to put something else next to this window, but yeah, build budget. It's a nice little sculpture. As you're walking the pathway down to the bridge, you get a nice view of the outside area. Alright, let's go down here. So this is kind of the bridge, navigation bridge, all in one sort of command center too for the operations of the city. Kind of like in Deep Space Nine, you know, they had the operations center. The ship can be moved, jumped, and commanded from down here, if need be. Here's the helm. These switches and buttons don't actually do anything. They're just there for decoration to, you know, helm's person will stand here and, you know, maybe they got some forbidden Atlas tech in here. This is supposed to be originally an experimental, one-of-a-kind Korvax research platform fitted with a jump drive, so, you know, who knows what they were experimenting with. Back here we got the captain's office, or ready room, whatever you want to call it. Originally I used to think of this as my office. I was originally planning on kind of decorating this place with decorations from my travels throughout the Euclid Galaxy. However, I ultimately decided against the idea, and so it kind of stays down here as a minimalist looking office. I say minimalist, but really I wanted to have this build down here, but I didn't want to go too crazy with the decorations to save all the budget for the top dome city, which we will be heading up to momentarily. Okay, so let's go on back upstairs. You can see by the way, the crew coming down here gets a really, really nice wraparound view of the area around the ship from the underside, so they have a nice tactical view of where they're going if they're navigating planet side. Or even in space, if they're above a planet, whatever they need. Then up here, back on the engineering deck. So if my editing skills are to be up to par, we will do another snap cut straight to me walking back up to the concourse. And go. Back on level 1. So to reach the rest of the city, we're going to need to go up to this upper floor here in the concourse column, which takes us then back over this way into the central column. Okay, so this room is what I like to call the player support room. This has a bunch of glitch-built storage cubes. I knew I wanted all 10 cubes in here, but you know, cubes at full size takes up a metric ton of space, so I scaled them all down. And it kind of looks like, as my friend said, the laundromat. So you can come in here and do your laundry. A couple refineries and a player appearance modifier. You know. Of course, we have a nice little viewing tube in here too. Okay, so we're still in the central column now. We're going to begin, this is the pathway up to the main city at the top dome, by the way. So we're going to start working our way up now. I showed you everything that was below decks, so let's go ahead and go above. So this is the pathway that starts it. So we're going to go up this ladder. And I kind of wanted to signify, hey, you're getting closer to the city, so I kind of glitch built these scaled down floor tiles. Actually, I'm not sure if these were scaled down or not. I think these might be quarter tiles. Can't remember. It's been a while since I built this, but I wanted it to look like this hallway was more than just, you know, a sterile metal hab hallway. You know, I wanted to put some stone flooring in here to kind of suggest this is the road to the city. This hab here is just a little cool hangout spot, little waiting area with some nice trees, bushes. You can look out here and get a nice view of what the observatory looks like from the exterior. So there's the lens that rotates around. Doesn't actually, but you know, I want to convey that it does rotate. Over here we can get a view of the spaceport. There's my ship docked up there, and there's the other pad there, and our little concourse room there. Right here we can look straight up. There's our central column. So let's go up one level. That teleporter takes us one level up. And this is directly on top of that room that we were just in. So this is a little biodome. I really, really wanted to make kind of like a... I wasn't sure what I was going for this room, but I wanted it to look like a park almost, or some sort of biodome where they grow food, but I threw the food idea away and I just made this kind of like a pretty looking part of the road to the city at the top. So this is all this is, kind of like you're, you know, hopping and skipping through the forest to get to the big city almost, if that makes any sense. Okay, so we're taking this teleporter up. It didn't go now. Okay, so now we are even further up now. So we are, let me go outside so we can take a look here. We are now standing on the little maintenance platform, by the way, where the solar array sits. so I can just show you the exterior view. So that's still the central column right there. We just came from that room here, the little park area thing. It'll take a little bit of time here to show you what the maintenance platform looks like. So here's our array of solar panels. It's kind of a pain to get walking around here. There's not a lot of space. Down below there, there's the observatory. Get you a good view of the little tails with the thruster-assisted ailerons that probably don't do anything at all. But they look cool. There's a flag. Somebody once asked me how I got these wires looking like they were attached from the top dome and kind of holding up this platform. Those are actually free-hand placed pipes. So you can actually place pipes and turn off snapping, and then you can basically just place them however you want, and they make for some really cool looking decorations. And yes, these aren't actually flags, those are awnings, but they did snap nicely to these cables here, so it makes it look like it's, you know, this thing's kind of held up by the top dome, and it's, you know, all kind of suspended in harmony. So let's go back inside. Okay, sorry about that. I had to sort of do a little jump cut here because I actually fell off the platform. But we're now, if we go back outside, this is where we were on the little maintenance platform, where all the solar arrays are sitting, back in this sort of central building here. I don't really have anything for this building. Again, I hit the build limit. I had some grand ideas for in here. But without going on another tangent, I'm just going to tell you that this room remains empty, and it probably will remain empty for quite some time. I have some ideas to bring this to life, but I need to start deleting parts first. So yeah, it's just going to remain empty. So I put up these walls here, so it just basically looks like kind of like a transit hallway from, you know, the below decks along the pathway or the winding teleporter road to the main city at the top. So without further ado, let's step through this teleporter, and we're going to end up on the streets of the famous City of Exington, the top dome city. So here we are. This is it right here. Before we get too heavy into the details here, I want to talk about my sort of strategy for building these little mini towns in any base building game. So I'm sure, no doubt by now, you've probably seen builds from other players of these massive sprawling cities or towns. Very impressive work. However, a lot of those players often can't, or don't want to decorate. So you have these huge towns that look totally soulless because there's no decorations, or they weren't able to place a lot of decorations and fill everything in, make it look like it's alive because of building limit restrictions or just time. You know, the time it would take to decorate something so huge. So whenever I decide I want to build something like a town, I always try to do it within my limitations as the player and limitations as far as build limiting goes for these games. So the City of Exington features what I kind of like to call compacting. So here I've built all these tiny little one-block structures, and then I've compacted them all together. And then decorated the hell out of everything to really make it feel like it's coming to life. So we have this like sort of main street that winds its way to the town center, and in the process I try to put so much detail in here that, you know, the player or myself gets stopped to look at everything, and it kind of simulates walking through a road. It takes time to do so if you want to stop and look at the details. You know, kind of like you're meandering your way through the antiquated looking stone streets, sandstone streets. That's really what I want here. So yeah, we come off of the teleporter pad here, out into this little street, walk our way to the town center, the town square, or town triangle, I guess. Subnautica lantern tree inspiration here. Literally, it is a literal lantern tree. Got a little convenience shop here. And here's our little offshoots. Here's an alleyway back here. Here's the back alley. And another alleyway here that takes you to another part of the town. There's another kind of main street that takes you back this way. And a side street alleyway that takes you this way. My ADHD is getting triggered because now I don't really know which way to take you guys first, so let's just get started from the beginning here. Here's our little teleporter pad. And back up this way. Let's go up these steps. This is my house. I made a cozy little pad for myself up in here. It's not too complicated. The name evades me. There is a content creator for Fallout 76 who gives base building advice. And I remember they said if you place something like a table, they have a 2 decoration rule. And I've kind of stuck with it. It makes flat surfaces look filled in and it looks cool. So, you know, all these flat surfaces, I try to put at least 1 or 2 things on top of them. So it doesn't look devoid and it also doesn't look too busy. So, you know, I have 2 decorations here on my nightstand, 1 decoration here on the little stand by the door here. Here's my little pet guy in there. Little sink. But yeah, not too complicated. Got myself a nice little patio here where I can sit and watch the clouds go by from over here. Then, of course, on the rooftop, I have my little barbecue rooftop hangout spot, too, for a friend and I. 2 chairs, if I have friends over. Get a nice little view of the top. And this gives me a good segue into another trick that I really wanted to do. I kind of thought of, like, levels of a rainforest canopy when I built up inside of here. So I wanted, if you went to the rooftops, I wanted you to only see the rooftops. So it's like a whole other world up here on the rooftops. You can just see the tops of all the other roofs, you know, a bunch of maintenance, water pipes, and, you know, smoke coming up. Want it to look like you're really on the top of a city, like on top of the skyline. That's what I wanted here. And you can, of course, look out the nice dome here, watch the sky. So that's kind of what I went for. When you're down below on the streets, you might not see up because of the towering buildings ahead, but when you get up top, you can look around. So, you know, canopies, things to look at. Other tactics I employed to make this little town, tiny town, look way larger than it really is. So let's go back down to the street. Let's come to the square. Let's head in here. There's a little house here on the corner. I built this house for my good friend who likes the color purple. I kind of failed. It looks more pink than purple, or more lavender than purple. It's not real purple, but, you know, I tried to inject a lot of purple in here so he would come stay with me every now and then. He hasn't visited yet. He has the game, has not visited, but he needs to come visit because he's got a place to stay, and it's purple. He loves spreadsheets, so I even made him a little console with a spreadsheet. But yep, this is my friend's house. Should he ever come visit, it's no pressure, just joking around. This house is for him. Let's check out this little side street. There's where the homeless person lives. By choice, by the way. It's a little side street, alleyway vibes going on here. So the towering buildings and air conditioner units. Tried to make this place look slightly grungy. Let's go ahead and take this side street over here and check out this building. This is a shop right here. Tried to make this look like it might be a sort of home decor shop. It fit in well with the pieces that we had available to us. I knew I wanted to build like a fully blown shop in here, but I didn't know what kind. I'm like, well, a home decor shop works, is we can make all these items look like they're, you know, intended for people to purchase to decorate their homes with. Some aquariums. I was never cool enough to get that holographic Gek thing to use as a shopkeeper, so I have these golden and silver statues instead, fulfilling that role. Let's go on upstairs here. So there's an apartment above the shop. This is what I like to call the conspiracy theorist's home. The place is dirty, grungy. We've got a corrupted sentinel out of containment, so if the city leaders and authorities knew that this person had this in here, they would be in deep trouble. And here we have the conspiracy theorist's little corkboard with the little thumbtacks and all the twine connecting all the little dots. We got white beat cables to fulfill that. But yeah, this is the conspiracy theorist's crazy corkboard here. Making connections where there might not be any, or are there connections? Maybe we'll never know. But here's their view on their own little balcony, so they can enjoy the little sort of mid-canopy view, I guess you can call it, of the city. The vertical thing I got going on here with the city. Okay, so let's go back downstairs to the street level. We got like a little water treatment plant thing going on. Maybe a water substation area. When I put this building here, this structure here, the pipes from the dome actually ended up clipping through the corner of this room, so I ended up trying to work it in and built the theme around these clipping through pipes. So it kind of made it look like it's a little maintenance closet for, you know, water treatment substation or something like that. So here we are. This is the main street here from the town square, and then it leads into the tree park. So it's a nice little zen zone space for the inhabitants to kind of relax in the shade. Let's take you upstairs here. This is another apartment. Just another stone building here, but just another dwelling. They get a nice... I wish we could duck so we could actually look through this window here, but in the proper angle you can actually look up through this window and see the treetops from the tree park. See my little descending hanging lamp display, and sometimes the clouds poking through the glass window there. Alright, let's go back downstairs here. Let's backtrack some. Let's go back over here to the town square and take the other offshoot of the alleyway to the other side of the town so I can show you this area. So back here is a little alleyway. There's nothing here. We got a water tank sitting here. Here's access to go into the shop for the shopkeeper. This is a little city bar slash cafe. Some nice little corner seating. But now here's the outdoor seating area for the inhabitants to go enjoy a meal or a drink or just hang out and have some fun. And that's pretty much it for this side. Over here we've got a little materials yard. I wasn't sure how to fill in this little triangle, but I knew I wanted to make something that looks kind of like a, you know, a supply area, and more industrial looking supply area. So here it is. That's pretty much it. I think I've said all I wanted to say about the city. But yeah, I spent a lot of time kind of scrutinizing over this build here, and just kind of... I started the build over a year ago, and by no means did I finish it. I don't think this base is ever going to be truly finished. I'm always tinkering with it, but today it's finally kind of in the state of, you know, completion, as close to completion as it's going to get. But yeah, if you come visit, in a year, it might not look the same, because this is a place that I'm always going to be sort of tinkering with back and forth. But there's a lot of variety here, a lot of different styles. You know, we have this dome city up top. You got the you know, maintenance themed areas downstairs. We've got the crew area, you know, like a wheelhouse bridge where they can command the vessels. So there's, you know, I wanted to have so much variety here, all within staying with the 3,000 part limit, all while compacting everything. His base might not be for everybody. It's a little bit overwhelming for me, especially giving a tour. I had to compress so much into such little time. I already know the video runtime is going to be pretty long, but oh man, I could just sit here and go over the details for hours. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this build. I've certainly been kind of loving over this thing for the last year and a half. So tinkering and changing things, and you know, hope you guys have enjoyed the video, enjoyed this build, and you know, if it's something you like, I have some far less grandiose builds in No Man's Sky that I would like to show off in the future here. So, you know, it won't be as long, won't be as detailed, but I do have a few other ones that I can show off. So let me know in the comments what you thought, any tips for the lore, any tips for, you know, building, would all be appreciated. So hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.